Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Every time I say it, it's going to suck even more.
May I present to you the cat?
I am Medela. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing. Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landon.
Hello.
And Caleb.
Hey!
And we are here to talk all things tech this week. And we actually have some things to talk about this week. It's very exciting. Very exciting. So,
Yay.
let's... Well, you guys just sound so happy right now to talk about this stuff.
Oh, wait. Yahoo! So excited.
Oh. I do that for you, and this is what you do,
Uh-huh.
This is what you do with it.
This is what you get for giving me, the audio editor,
It's
any of
true.
your audio.
I mean, if you listen to the beginning of our podcast, there's a lot of funny stuff that we put on there that he gladly puts on there. So, all right. Well, let's get into this. Looks like we have an event here. Looks like MWC 2025 recap.
Yes, listener, MWC, also known as Mobile World Congress, was this past week in Barcelona, Spain. And from what I have seen, this has basically turned into the CES of mobile devices because there's just all sorts of weird and interesting concept devices. Not a whole lot of things you can buy from this event, at least not that was really talked about. It's mostly just a lot of concept stuff that was like, why? Why do we have this? Some of it I actually kind of really want to see come, out to the public, but some of it's like that can stay as a concept. Please keep it away from anybody. I just wanted to mention a few things that I thought were interesting. Couple of which are those things that I would like to see come as a actual product that you can purchase because they're pretty cool things. The first two that I want to talk about are a couple of phones. The first one is Xiaomi. They announced the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, which is actually a phone, but they also made a version here at MWC that you can attach basically a DSLR lens to the back of it. Now, this is a proprietary lens. Xiaomi made this lens, and the way it works is it kind of, for lack of a better term, MagSafes onto the back. It's not MagSafe because we all know Android can't have MagSafe. But it's basically MagSafe onto the back of the phone. And it's got a couple of pins that it can send data over to the phone with. And it just gives you the option of having a better sensor on your phone. Not fully turning it into a DSLR, but pretty close, because obviously it's a much larger, better lens that they put on here, and it also has manual focus, which is always nice to have with a handheld camera, in my opinion. I think it's really cool, but like I said, this is obviously just a concept and isn't going to be coming to the public anytime soon.
Didn't Motorola kind of try to do that at one point?
Motorola and LG back in the day with their individual modular phones that they had, both of which had the ability to add larger lenses to those phones. Yes, they did do that. And they were awesome. I mean, they weren't quite as good as it would be now, but for the time it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, the downside to the LG one is none of those mods were hot swappable. You had to take the whole back of the phone off, and that was an interesting way of doing it. But Motorola's was, and it was a lot
just
more
like
cool.
some pogo pins on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I miss those days.
Yeah, actually, I really
LG G5. That was a great phone. Anyways,
phones were interesting back then, man.
It's really true. That's why I like seeing this type of stuff, even though they're concepts.
Yes.
One day,
right?
This could happen.
Bring the interesting stuff out of Mobile World Congress and sell it to us. We'd like to buy it.
Yeah.
Please.
But of course, it comes from these companies that don't usually sell phones in the U.S., unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Xiaomi. The next one is another company that doesn't sell phones in the U.S. It's RealMe. And they came out with this RealMe Ultra because Ultra apparently is just the new name for everything, which is Apple's fault, and it's really dumb.
Yep.
But this phone, I think I like this one better for one main reason. So the way this one works is you can put a lens over the camera sensor, like the regular camera sensor that's there already. And they did put a quote unquote 1-inch sensor in the phone. It's your mobile version of a 1-inch sensor. So it's not a true 1-inch sensor, but it is better than your typical, or is larger than your typical phone camera sensor. And it is a Sony sensor, so it's really not that bad. But the way this works is it's got a standard, who did they partner with? I'm trying to see here. It's a Leica, a standard Leica mount. So basically will work with almost any lens that's out there already. And it just pops on over the camera, so you can use different lenses with this phone. That's the thing I like about this, is you can use basically any DSLR lens that you might already have with this phone. Whereas the Xiaomi one, it was proprietary, their own lens. You had to use their, type of thing. But this one works with more lenses, so I really like that. But they had a few different lenses that they demoed with this thing. They had a 73 millimeter lens that can zoom a lot farther. They had a 234 millimeter lens that went up to 10 times zoom. It was pretty cool. And a few other ones that they had. I really like that idea. Again, these are the two things from MWC that I would absolutely love to see come to into a real product that people can actually purchase eventually.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to see it come to a phone that is sold in a place that I can buy it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Because, that would be cool. The next phone that I had seen briefly, but I kind of forgot about it. Caleb mentioned this before the podcast, and so it's great. It is a Trifold flip phone. It's Infinix. They call it the 0 Series Mini Trifold, and it is also a concept phone. But what it is, it's like if you open it up, it opens up to your standard, 6.5 or whatever inch phone that you're used to, but it folds in two different places. So it folds even small. It's like half the size of a Motorola Razr or the Z Flip from Samsung, because it doesn't just fold in half. It folds once and then folds again, and it's nice and little, nice and compact.
Yep. We're getting closer, bit by bit, to my idealized phone, which is essentially a tube of chapstick from which you unroll a screen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want, and we're making some progress toward that. So I'll take it.
Yeah. But I do find it really interesting. Again, this is just a concept phone, but I do find it always fun to look at these type of things, because this is what you used to be able to buy the weird phones like this, because LG especially used to just make them. Samsung also used to just make weird phones. Like I remember back in the day, Samsung made a point and shoot camera that had a phone attached to it. Like I can't call it a phone with a nice camera on it, because it was a camera. Like it was thick, like a regular point and shoot camera that just happened to be a phone as well. They don't do things like that anymore. And LG doesn't make phones anymore, which is really unfortunate.
It's a huge shame. I'm sorry. Remember the Wing? I love that thing.
I still desperately want one of those. That was the last phone that they made.
Probably, but I don't care. It was cool.
every once in a while I've looked on eBay just to see if I can find one for a reasonable price, because I just want one to have. It wouldn't be my regular phone, especially at this point, because it's 5 or 6 years old at this point.
Very out of date. Yeah.
But it would be so cool to say, look, I've got one, and it's awesome.
Yep.
Now, on to a product that when I saw, I'm like, wait, why? This is a Lenovo laptop. It's a ThinkBook Flip concept. Again, concept laptop. And the way this one works is it has a larger display, not like the ones we've seen previously where it rolls taller, but it folds taller, and not like a typical laptop that obviously folds open. That's normal. It does fold open, but then on the back, which would normally be the back of the display / top of the laptop when it's closed, is another display that you fold up. So it gets taller, but you also have a display that is constantly just there, ready to be scratched on the outside of the laptop.
I think my favorite take on this laptop that I saw was that this is the ultimate battle station for Battleship.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Just because you just one person on one side, one person on the other, and there you go, you got your screen. Play Battleship on this laptop.
That would actually be a very good use case for this laptop. Probably the only one, but it would be one. I have seen that supposedly they want you to be able to use the outside display that folds up to make a larger one. When it is closed, you can use it as a tablet. So
yeah,
I guess that's an option.
If you really want a inch thick, 5-pound tablet, I guess you're just really jonesing for those old Dell tablets back before the iPad was a thing.
Oh, those were horrible. I mean, if you really want a laptop that can also be a tablet, they make those. They're usually basically the screen will either fold all the way back or it rotates and you fold over the keyboard. It's a thing that is a possibility right now. It just doesn't also give you the option to make it twice as tall of a laptop.
To make it portrait mode.
Because I mean everybody wants a portrait mode laptop.
This thing smacks of we designed it because we could.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the only people that I know that do usually have at least one monitor in portrait mode are developers. So maybe that's the person for this laptop. They want to be able to develop at Starbucks, but they can't take their setup, so they get the laptop with the taller. I don't know who this is for. Luckily, it's a concept, and hopefully it never actually becomes a product, because this is just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now the next thing that I thought was really interesting. So, obviously, we do know how popular the Nintendo Switch is. It's Nintendo. It's a portable, quote unquote, full console device. And obviously, other people have made products similar to it, that are starting to become popular. Well, obviously, that product, for some people, just isn't quite small enough to, at least when they want to go put it away. So Samsung, they came out with, what did they call this? The I don't even know if they have a name for it. But basically, it's a Nintendo Switch or your Steam Deck or something like that. It folds in half because, obviously everyone wants that.
Why not?
And you might be wondering, wait a minute, these gaming devices have joysticks and yes, you would be right. So does this one. And they're not recessed into the thing. So when you fold it on the opposing side of where these joysticks are, there are basically pockets.
Yeah.
Where they just go into on the opposite side. Who is asking for this?
It's kind of goofy, but at the same time, I do know some people who would like it. because their main complaint with the Switch or the Steam Deck or stuff like that is either that it's not actually pocketable, right? It's too big,
Yeah.
or that if they put it in a bag, the screen is exposed. And so like it can get scratched and stuff, and they have to buy like a carrying case for it. This would solve both of those problems. You can fit it in large pockets and fold it in half, toss it in a bag, screen's not exposed. So like I see it, I get it. And I think that to me this seems like Samsung is trying to sell Valve
Oh yeah.
a screen,
100%.
right? They're trying to sell like Nintendo or Valve or somebody on this concept of like, listen, we can make this screen for you, design the console, and we can make the screen. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, especially, I mean, this is obviously a concept device. They didn't let anybody use it because, duh. But it doesn't even have like a D-pad on it. It's just a couple joysticks, and that's it. Because it's not, I mean, it might be slightly functional because it did look like the screen had like it was a display that you could view things on. But again, they didn't let any, like I'm looking at a picture of it with a little picture in front of the display of this thing says no touching. Like, do not touch this device. Because if you do,
I
it
bet
will
the
explode.
joysticks didn't even do anything.
Probably not. They were hard, not
Yeah.
movable joysticks. They're just there for show because, again,
No, it's
concept.
It's a demo for other companies. That's what it was.
Yeah, pretty much. So those are the things that I wanted to talk about with MWC. I actually kind of like the direction that it's going because, again, I really like these weird, interesting ideas that people come up with for phones, especially because we don't get that anymore in actual products. So at least we have concepts to rely on to give us that weird crap that we've all been wanting for the last 5 years. So if MWC keeps going in this direction, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Good. I mean, we need to have these types of phones and things out in the
Seriously.
wild. Innovation.
I wish they were out in the wild.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We got some Apple news here. Looks like we have some new iPads.
Listener, Apple has been just so great about dumping a glut of new products on us over the past few weeks, and it's all very exciting and definitely worth talking about. And you can tell that I mean that because of my voice. No, it is. I have decided, I was thinking about this past week. We are in the point right now that we were in back in like 2018, 2019 with Apple, right before Apple Silicon launched, when all of their computers pretty much universally sucked and nothing was worth what they asked for it. And we were all I was genuinely concerned that Apple was just going to kill the entire Macintosh line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they released Apple Silicon, and we were all like, okay, we're all right. This is actually awesome. And good things started happening. We are in that point right now that we were with the Mac back then. That's where we are with all of their iOS devices right now.
It's so true.
The iPads, the iPhones, all of it. We are right now in the point where I'm like, just genuinely, they are not doing anything with these devices. And year over year, they push crap out because they have to sell units, because they have to make profits, but none of it is worth buying. So, to that end, like Wes said, new iPads. This past week, Apple announced an update to the iPad Air. It has the M3 now instead of the M2. That's it. So there you go. Processor spec bump.
Yeah.
Cool. They also updated the base model iPad So it was the 10th gen before. Now it's the 11th gen. And it has the A16 processor in it now. There had been some rumors that it was going to be getting the M1. It did not. There were other rumors that it was going to get the A17 Pro, the same processor, the same chip that was in the iPhone 15 Pro. So a couple of years old, but still solid processor. Did not get that. Got the A16, which was the same processor that was in the non-Pro iPhone 15. Except wait, the processor that was in the non-Pro iPhone 15 was the A16 Bionic. This is the A16, not the A16 Bionic. Turns out that matters because so the A16 originally launched in 2 flavors with the iPhone 14. There was a version in the iPhone Pro that was the full fat chip, and then there was the version in the normal iPhone that had 1 fewer GPU core. Okay? Both of these were called the A16 Bionic. All right? This 11th gen iPad has a non-bionic version of that chip, which has 1 fewer CPU core and 1 fewer GPU core than the iPhone 14's version of the A16. So it got the same treatment as the 16E, the iPhone 16E, where the whole CPU is just cut down and cool.
But they make you feel better about it because it has the name of a relatively newer chip, when in reality it performs as well as the chip in the iPhone 13.
Yes, that is what it's basically an A15, but technically not, because it is built on a slightly newer architecture.
Yeah.
But it has fewer cores for both the GPU and the CPU than the A15. So it performs about the same as the A15. So, the one good thing that I can say about this is that the 11th gen iPad still starts at, what was it, $330?
Yeah,
Or
I think
$320? Whatever it is. It starts at the same price as the 10th gen did. So the price didn't go up. Good job, Apple. I guess it's not as bad as the iPhone 16e.
You did the
That's
minimum
the best thing
thing
that
you
I
could
can
do.
say. It's like you managed not to kill somebody over this one. I don't.
Jeez. Man.
Yep.
Well, sounds like that's all you want to say about that.
Oh yeah, no, I got these are just there's nothing to be said.
Fair. Well, we'll move on to the next one here. The new MacBook Air.
Oh yeah, speaking of things that have nothing to be said, the MacBook Air has an M4 now. They've released the MacBook Airs with M4s.
Oh boy.
They're M4 powered. So you know the M4 that launched last year?
Yep.
That's in the MacBook Air now. And I guess the big takeaway is that it can now power 2 external displays while the lid is open. So 3 displays total.
2 6K displays.
Yeah, yes.
There
But
you go.
it used to be that if you wanted 2 external displays, you had to close the lid so that the internal display would turn off. But now you can do all 3. Big upgrades. Big upgrades. It's huge. It's massive. Also, new color, actually, I think, for the MacBook Air. There's now like a kind of a silvery blue color option.
It's interesting.
It's a thing. You get that if you want.
Yep.
And the price is actually, I will say, the base model price for the MacBook Air did drop $100.
Yeah.
So it is now like a flat. Wait, is it a flat $1,000 or did they drop it to $900?
It's $999.
$999.
Yep.
So it's a flat $1,000 to get a new MacBook Air. So price came down a little bit. Newer processor. Totally just average spec bump. as continues to be the case with Apple, do not pay for storage upgrades, internal storage upgrades. Just don't. It's highway robbery. If you can avoid paying for RAM upgrades, which for the MacBook Air, if you're the user looking at the MacBook Air, they now come with 16 gigs of RAM base. That's honestly good. Just base model that sucker, and it's a good buy. But anything else, don't. Just don't.
Just don't. Okay. Well, let's talk about the new Mac Studio.
Yeah, new Mac Studio. It's got an M4 now. So actually, there is a little bit more to say about the Mac Studio, because Mac Studio has, in the past, shipped with the Max and Ultra processors, especially now that you can get the Pro version of the processors in the Mac Mini, right? So, the new Mac Studio has the M4 Max, which we saw in last year's MacBook Pros, and an M3 Ultra. No M4 Ultra. Turns out that's just what it is. We are not going to get M4 Ultras because the M4 Max was designed without the interconnect that they use to sandwich two Max chips together in previous generations to make the Ultra. Because that's what the Ultra has always been, is basically just like two Max chips that they just glued together with a really high-speed interconnect and double the core counts for the GPU and CPU and all that stuff, and that's what makes it an Ultra. The M3 has that. The M4 does not. So we're never going to get an M4 Ultra, so we get the M3 Ultra instead in the new Mac Studio. Does beg the question about what the heck is going to happen with the Mac Pro. Are they going to update it this year with an M3 Ultra? Or are they just not going to bother and skip it, wait until the M5 comes out and then upgrade it with that? But it's been a few years since we've really had any changes in the Mac Pro. But does it even make sense to have a Mac Pro when you can't put, discrete cards? You can't do discrete GPUs with these things. Very few actual use cases for the PCI slots in these things. So what's the point? Questions. There are a lot of questions raised by this new Mac Studio and the revelation of the M3 Ultra, but we have no answers. Is it possible that the Mac Pro is going to be something completely different because we're going to see some new version of an Ultra chip in the M4 family that is it's not just two M4 Maxes sandwiched together, but is in fact a discrete chip built from the ground up for high performance. And maybe it's going to do things like supporting discrete GPUs and have broader compatibility with third-party adding cards and that kind of thing. That is possible. But we don't have any real confirmation of that at this point. And now that we've seen the M3 Ultra, it's kind of just is that what's happening? It's so hard to say. So many questions. But since this is a new piece of silicon in the M series family, listener, just a quick rundown of what the M3 Ultra gives you if you happen to be in the market to drop $3,000 on a Mac Studio. It has up to 80 GPU cores and up to 32 CPU cores. And you can max it out at 512 gigs of RAM, which is a lot of RAM.
Yeah.
Half a terabyte of RAM is a bunch. That's a bunch. I will note that, as I have said over and over and over again, their internal storage upgrades are highway robbery. Their RAM upgrades also tend to be highway robbery, but unless you are god tier with soldering, you're kind of stuck with their stock RAM upgrades. So if you have a use case that requires 512 gigs of RAM, you're just going to have to bite the bullet, pay Apple for it. That it will run you, I think, $4,000 for just the RAM upgrades in that case. So you'd be paying a total of $7,000 for the computer at that point. So that sucks. But the storage issue, there are companies that will sell you storage modules for the Mac Studio that can be installed, and you can do third-party upgrades. They are more expensive than just a standard SSD, to be clear, but they're a heck of a lot less expensive than Apple wants, because Apple, I think, will let you max this thing out at 2 terabytes of internal storage, and I think it costs like $6,000 for just that, just the storage upgrades. And listener, 2 terabytes of storage does not cost $6,000.
Okay,
Landon wants to. Did you look at the configurator?
Uh-huh.
That's just depressing, man. Don't do that.
No, it's actually not depressing. It's hilarious. Because
no.
I'm not the buyer for this. Whoever is, it would be depressing. But for me, it's not. So, if for some reason you want that 512 gigs of memory, you can't just get that, because you have to also upgrade the chip to the highest version of the M3 Ultra, which is that alone is $1,500 just to upgrade to the higher end chip. And then if you want to upgrade to the 512 gigs of memory, it's an additional $4,000 for 512 gigs. So just the base version of the 512 gig of memory is $9,500. And then you can actually get up to 16 terabytes of storage.
Oh, no. Oh, how much does that cost?
It's actually less than I was expecting. So 2 terabytes is $400, which is not good.
I mean, that is more than 2 terabytes cost.
But it's not horrible. But if you want a maxed... Oh my gosh, I just clicked... Okay. If you want a maxed out M3 Ultra Mac Studio, it's going to cost you $14,100.
What the...
Whoa.
You could buy a decent car for that price.
Yeah. I mean, a decent used car.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's used car money, right? That's, oh my gosh. Insane. As I have said many times, Apple's upgrades to their computers it's highway robbery. And I would honestly, if you can't do the job that you want to do with the base model of an Apple machine, be it a phone, an iPad, or a Mac, don't buy it. Don't buy it. Buy a PC, buy an Android, whatever. It's just not worth it. And that being said, if you can get away with the base specs, then, the base spec MacBook Air, a little bit cheaper now than it used to be. The base spec Mac Mini right now, that thing is one of the best deals in computing. It's fantastic value for money. The base spec iPhone 16e is a ripoff regardless of what you're doing. But, the base spec 11th gen iPad continues to be the best content consumption device that you can get for less than like $500. Hands down. So base spec Apple stuff, pretty good. And if you can get away with the job that you need to do on that hardware with the base specifications of Apple stuff, I recommend it. It's great. But if you need more than that, shop somewhere else. So, all of that being said, we have a couple of early benchmark results for the M3 Ultra that kind of make it clear what this chip is for. If you get the top spec chip with the 80 GPU cores, 32 core CPU, the CPU performance overall, the single core performance is going to be slower than an M4 Max because the M4 is newer. So, whoops. And it has 32 cores as opposed to the M4 Max, which I think maxes out at 24 cores or something like that. So the total, all cores together, benchmarks higher, but it's 8 to 10% faster than the M4 Max. So that's not great.
No.
And the 80 GPU cores will get you a 16 to 20% increase over the M2 Ultra, which is the next fastest Apple Silicon chip for GPU performance. The M4 Max GPU tops out at 40 GPU cores, and while it does perform well, the M3 Ultra is going to net you like 32% more performance than that, just because of the sheer number of cores that it can throw at the problem. So the top spec M3 Ultra is really about those 80 GPU cores. If you have extremely heavy GPU tasks that you want to do on a Mac, that's the only reason to get this processor. Otherwise, it seems like get your Mac Studio, but get it with the M4 Max. You know? That honestly, if you're doing CPU related stuff, it's going to be newer hardware with a faster single core, and it's not that much slower if you throw all the cores at a workload than the M3 Ultra. So save the money. So there you go. That's the new Macs that Apple announced.
Well, there we go. Not so happy about these things, are we?
No, not. I'm indifferent to the Mac stuff. Like, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just whatever, spec bumps. The iPads are just, I don't know, what are they doing with the iSeries stuff, with the mobile stuff? iPads and iPhones right now are like, holy crap, Apple, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, if it makes you feel any better, at least they didn't do a whole event based on these products. Because in the past...
That's very true.
In the past, they would have.
That's very, very true. So I guess I should count my blessings. At least I didn't have to sit through 2 hours to get this at the end of it.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Looks like we got some Google news here. First thing on the docket, YouTube Premium Lite.
Yeah, YouTube Premium Lite is a new version of YouTube Premium that will be coming shortly. It has been tested, I guess, in a few different markets, but not in the U.S., but now it will be coming to the U.S. and also to those markets that it was tested in, which was Thailand, Germany, and Australia. That's where this was originally piloted. Basically, what YouTube Premium Lite is YouTube Premium, but you cannot download for offline play videos. And, it's basically just YouTube without ads. And YouTube, you can't listen to music videos without ads. So, just your standard YouTube video without ads. That's what this YouTube Premium Lite is for $7.99 a month. So, it's not horribly, it's just over half price of what regular YouTube Premium is. And honestly, I think this is what most people probably want.
Yeah.
At least for me, like, I do understand that a lot of people go to YouTube to listen to music. I don't fully understand those people, but there are a lot of them out there. So this would not really benefit them. But there are also a lot of people like myself that go to YouTube for non-music videos and just regular YouTube videos. So for me, this would actually make way more sense than the regular YouTube Premium, because I don't need the extra features that it has. Like, I don't care to have downloaded YouTube videos for offline playback. And one thing they also mention is it doesn't have background play. So that's basically, again, another feature for if you're listening to music, that you can leave YouTube, not have the secondary, just like normal pop-up video or pop-up player that's there. It would just be in the background. Again, I'm not going to use that, because if I'm watching a video on YouTube, I'm watching a video on YouTube. So for me, this makes a lot of sense. And again, I think for a lot of people, this would make a lot of sense. But there are those people that still want to have regular YouTube Premium, because one thing that is included in that is YouTube Music. So if you're a YouTube Music subscriber, like if that's your place to listen to music, not Spotify or Apple Music, then paying for regular YouTube Premium does make sense. Or if you are the person on YouTube that likes to listen to music through there, then again, that makes sense. But I like that they're offering this because, again, I think this is what most people actually think YouTube Premium is. But
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. Like, this actually makes YouTube Premium appealing to me because the price is, like you said, quite a bit lower, and it gets rid of the ads. Yep. That's all I've wanted, this whole time. So, maybe.
Yeah, it is pretty tempting because, the ads are just so bad on YouTube, and they're only getting worse.
For sure. Yeah.
I've had the premium for a long time now, so whenever someone brings up ads, I'm like, oh yeah, that is a thing.
Yeah.
I ever since Groove left a long time ago, I for music, I searched for my music player and I saw YouTube was one, YouTube Music, but also it said, also if you do premium, which is like the same price. It was weird at the time. It was the same price to get YouTube Premium, which was both no ads and music.
Yeah.
Together, and it's a family plan thing too. So I'm like, oh well, this works. No, I've always had it, but I was actually looking through here, and for some reason, it's not showing me if there's a family plan version of this. I'm
not sure.
I haven't seen anything about that, so I don't know. I would imagine that it would probably come across as an option eventually, but at the moment, I don't know. I don't see anything about it.
Yeah, I've got the family plan for YouTube Premium, but I can't see the Lite one. So.
Yeah. Also, for me, I also don't. I watch YouTube videos on a fairly regular basis, but not enough that I'm still not going to probably pay for this because, again, I don't watch enough YouTube to really justify it. I'm fine with the 15-second ad or 5-second then skip type ad, every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I do know people that would really benefit from something like this because they watch a lot of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that they're doing this because, it is more affordable, which everyone always wants something a little more affordable. And it gives most people, I think, what they actually want. And that's just an ad-free experience on YouTube.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Looks like we have RCS on Google Fi.
Yeah, so I found this really funny and kind of ironic. So, RCS has been on Google Fi for a while, but it has not been on Google Fi for iPhone users. And I find that really funny because Google was the one constantly making fun of Apple and the iPhone for not supporting RCS. And then they finally did, and like, oh, well, I guess we're not going to have it on Google Fi. Now, this is not fully Google's fault because they don't control the service. They are an MVNO, so they don't control really everything that happens with their service. This is they use T-Mobile's towers to have this service there. And it is now it's not even fully working on iOS because you have to have iOS 18.4 beta to be able to actually use it. And iOS 18.4 for regular users is still going to be probably another month or so before it actually comes out. So, it's still not fully there, but it is coming. If you are the rare person that's on Google Fi and uses an iPhone, RCS will be coming. This is also going to be coming to all of the T-Mobile MVNOs. So there are a few different companies that use T-Mobile's towers. I think Mint is one of them. Actually, Mint is now owned by T-Mobile. So yes, they use T-Mobile's towers. And there's a couple others out there. So if you are one of those users on an iPhone wanting RCS, then just either download the beta of 18.4 or wait for 18.4 to hit your phone. Then you will finally have RCS. I found it so funny that Google Fi, of all services, did not have RCS.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Even though, like I said, it's not Google's fault. It's just so funny and ironic that that's the one holdout.
That is funny. Freaking Google. All right. Well, we're going to move on to some general tech news. And the headline of this one is, "Oh, Lord, they coming." The 5070 reviews versus the 9070 reviews. 5070 launch versus the 9070 launch. There you go, kid. I did it for you.
No, that was perfect. That's perfect. That is exactly the vibe. Listener, I am just as sick of talking about graphics cards as you are of hearing me talk about graphics cards. That is where we're at in 2025.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this past week, the 5070 had the review embargo lifted and then launched the next day. And the same day that it launched, the 9070 had its review embargoes lifted, and then it launched the day after that. So, let's talk about the reviews a little bit. In general, 5070, the response to the 5070 was that it sucks. Don't buy it. That most people were fixated on the idea that when NVIDIA announced this GPU at CES, they did it with a headline of 4090-like performance.
Oof.
Right? They're like, this is going to get you, this 5070 is going to get you the same performance as last year's super high-end graphics card that cost $2,000, and it'll do it for $500 or $550. Listen, listener, if your BS detector didn't go off when NVIDIA said that at CES, you need to get that sucker calibrated. It's not working.
Yeah.
That was obviously hogwash, but NVIDIA never retracted that statement. And so that was what all the reviews were fixated on. It's all like, no, I'm sorry. AI hallucinated frames don't count. They don't count. And what the 5070 actually is approximately the same performance as a 4070 Super. A little bit worse than a 4080. Not by much, but a little bit. So technically, not actually generational uplift in performance over the last generation, which, I mean, that's just been the case in general for the 50 series cards from NVIDIA this year. So, okay. And also, nobody was expecting it to be available at $550. That was a fake MSRP. Also, turns out the Founders Edition card of the 5070 that NVIDIA sent to a bunch of reviewers for them to test, that thing's not launching for another month. I don't know what.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's great. It's great. So, the next day, the 5070 launches, immediately becomes vaporware. There were like 10 of them to purchase, and it was being sold by scalpers within hours on eBay for like $900. So not even close to MSRP for this card. At the same time, reviews were going live for the 9070 and 9070 XT from AMD's Radeon team. Those reviews, in general, significantly more positive. In every single one of them, they're like, you know what? The 9070 XT at $600 is solid. Like, it's a solid deal. That is really good performance. It's a good 1440p card. Will do kind of your, cinematic 60 FPS at 4K if you need it to. It's a card that's designed for 1440p though, and it works really well at that resolution. It performs pretty similarly to the 5070 Ti, not a little bit better in a lot of cases. And AMD has made significant strides in terms of catching up technologically to what NVIDIA is doing with their GPUs, meaning that the onboard media encoder is significantly better and now much more competitive with NVIDIA's, that the ray tracing performance of the cards, while not catching up to NVIDIA's, made significant strides in closing the gap in terms of the frame rates you could get off of these GPUs in ray traced titles. Mm-hmm. And AMD's new FSR 4 Fidelity Super Resolution, which is the competitor to NVIDIA's DLSS, now is using machine learning technology on the GPUs to help make it better. And the output quality of it is now much, much closer to modern versions of DLSS. And honestly, the demonstrations that I saw where they were kind of showing side by side, this is FSR4, this is DLSS 3.2 or whatever we're on these days. They were pretty much the same. Like visually, there were some artifacting and stuff like that if you slow everything down and really pixel peep, but they both looked pretty dang good, looked very similar to each other. And notably, FSR4 is a significant step up over FSR3. It is worth noting that unlike FSR3, FSR4 does require hardware machine learning tech that does not exist on prior versions of AMD's GPUs, so it does have to be a 9070 or 9070 XT to gain that benefit. So, in general, 9070 XT reviews, extremely positive. The regular 9070, slightly less positive because, again, $550, it's only a $50 difference from the 9070 XT, and it is like 10 to 15% slower in a lot of titles. It performs fairly comparably to the 5070 and costs the same as the 5070, but everybody thought the 5070 was bad value. So by the transitive property, the 9070 was kind of like, yeah, this is also not a great value. But the 9070 XT, everyone loved that. The next day, the 9070 and 9070 XT launched, and they managed to stay on sale for more than about 30 seconds.
Wow.
It's not good news, but it's better than the news we have had in the past. So to be clear, they did sell out, right? The 9070 did sell out pretty much everywhere, and it looks like most of the stock of these cards was in North America. So customers in the United States that lined up at Micro Center, a lot of them were able to get cards, right? Like they stood in line for hours outside of Micro Centers waiting for them to open. They opened, they went in, there were cards on the shelf. Everybody got a card. Everybody bought a card and walked out. Which is, how that's supposed to work. And
Weird.
It did seem like AMD had kind of taken their stock and prioritized physical locations like brick and mortar stores because they wanted the optics of these big lines of people with everybody walking out with a GPU. So online availability was not as good, but it did take a couple of hours before they sold out on sites like Newegg. So that's good. And then folks in Europe, there was not as much stock over there. Like clearly they were sold out within minutes of the cards going on sale. So yeah, still limited stock, but significantly better launch than the 5070. And it seems like their stock is coming in, right? Like new stock is getting added pretty much every day, and people are able to buy stuff. There are a few things that are a little bit concerning. Some anonymous people speaking from retailers have made the claim that the MSRP of that these cards launched with is only going to apply for the first wave of cards sold. And once they get past a certain number of cards sold, then the MSRPs for all of these are going to go up. Nobody has confirmed that. And AMD said some things that seemed like they were denying it, but it wasn't very explicit, so kind of hard to say. But, we can hope. We can hope. I am choosing to remain hopeful that the 9070 is going to continue with the MSRP that makes it an excellent card and not have the MSRPs all jump a whole bunch. But we'll just have to see. Then, speaking to the latter half of the week, because this all happened in the first half of the week, a whole bunch of rumors started dropping, which is where this headline for this segment came from, of the 5060 and the 9060, as well as the possibility of a 5050 from NVIDIA.
Hmm.
So we're talking entry-level graphics cards, you know? Mass market graphics cards. Something equivalent to the super venerable, very well-received, very well-loved 750 Ti from back in the day. GTX 750 Ti was a super, super well-received and very popular GPU that honestly was one of the top GPUs on Steam for a very long time because of really good price to performance. And a 5050 would be competing in terms of performance with Intel's latest generation of graphics cards, which everybody agreed at the price they launched, that B580 at what was it, 250 or something like that, $250. Fantastic GPU. And so hopefully competition down there could actually get NVIDIA to launch these cards at a reasonable price and maybe even have some in stock. So yeah, more GPU stuff in the future. We are rumored to be seeing some announcements about this stuff later in March. So listener, I hope you didn't have hopes of not hearing about graphics cards anytime in the near future, because I don't think that's happening. Sorry. But there you go. That's it. I'm done talking about GPUs for now.
Until next week.
Till next week.
Until next week.
All right, let's go ahead and let's move on from the GPUs there. We're going to be talking about, well, in our gaming section, controllers. Apparently there's been some issues with the latest update for the Xbox controller. Listener, if you use an Xbox controller and have updated its firmware, you might be seeing some issues. It's been confirmed that there's been some complaining on aiming issues for shooters. They were talking, apparently they come out. Basically what happened is many users have reported that the analog sticks snap back to 0% on their own, making small adjustments difficult. So when you're adjusting to, if you have a little stick drift or anything, it automatically will adjust it. You can actually go in and help it stay centered. Well, apparently this kind of threw things out of whack. So
yeah, I feel like it would be really nice if there was like an input control method for playing games that didn't have like built-in deadband to it or something, like a mouse. Oh, I think mouse.
Weird.
That'd be really good. I feel
be
like.
really awesome.
Yeah,
you PC master race.
Just a thought.
Well, they did say that they're working on a solution and they're starting to roll out a fix. They said it was rolling out. So always check, plug your Xbox controller into your Xbox or PC and get it updated where it needs to be. So yeah, I figured I'd let you know about that. Because we always, any kind of hardware issues, we want to definitely make people know if there's an issue with that. So also, if you are, I figure I'd go ahead and say this too, wasn't on the docket, but if you're an Xbox insider, usually, I was until they blocked me, my IP apparently. But if you download, if you are an Xbox insider and on the alpha or alpha skip ahead rings, be very careful because when you do this update, it's probably going to delete your profile and settings.
Oh man.
After the installation was complete. So, listener, be very careful. If you have an extra Xbox and you're messing with stuff on the extra one, okay, fair. Just whatever. But yeah, just so you know, people have been complaining about that. So in these beta tests and alpha rings and whatever ring they call it, just so you know, this is out there. So, alrighty.
The danger of beta testing software.
I know, right? Seriously. Well, it looks like that might be the end of our episode, unless, Landon, do you have one more thing for us?
Nope.
Awesome. Well, listener, we appreciate you listening to us today on this episode. If you want to get a hold of us or want to ask us questions or anything like that, feel free to hop on our social media as well as callingallplatforms.com. You can check out the YouTube channel that we have. It's not been updated for a long, long time. You can check it out if you'd like to, or put a comment saying, hey, we want updates. That can happen over at our YouTube channel on Calling All Platforms Tech and Calling All Platforms Gaming. All right, dear listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.